All right, so turning even a 3D drawing like this is still two-dimensional, right? But here you can start to draw with actual boards. All right, I've got 1, 2, 3 shelves. So I've got 1, 2, 3 shelves. All right, okay, good. That's better, right? We can start to see that take shape. And like I said, we need this to be three-dimensional, so we're going to pull these lines back, pull these lines back, straight down. Oh, it's actually looking like a real thing. Go me. Okay, and then we got like, some depth here. Oh, I got super confused. But that looks a little bit better. Medium better. We're getting there. All right, so let's say one of the big principles in designing and building something is that you want to make, especially at the level where you guys are using mainly hand tools, you want to create something that takes as few unique pieces as possible, as few unique shapes as possible. It's kind of a funny thing to think about, but let's look at it this way. Okay, let's say we're going to make this bookshelf, and it's going to be 50 centimeters wide. We like that, and that we want it to be 100 centimeters tall. I don't know, I'm just making stuff up. And it's going to be 30 centimeters deep. Okay? So we've got the numbers, the dimensions here, 30 centimeters. So kind of like you saw in that example I showed you before, if this is piece A, how big is piece A, Tyler?
Piece A, 100 centimeters tall.
How else big? It's tall and depth.
30 centimeters.
30, okay? So you got 100 tall and 30 centimeters deep. Okay, so A, and how many A's do we have in this drawing, in this pattern? Two, just two, right? So we got this, we got times 2. Okay, so far so good. So what else should we have? We got piece B here, right? So Clara, what size is piece B?
80 centimeters.
What's that?
80.
It needs kind of like this. It needs something by something.
30 by
30 by 50. Okay, so B equals 30 by 50. And Claire, how many of those do we need? 2. Okay, I'm running out of space. All right, and so we got B and B. Moana,
What? Yes.
let's say that this is piece C. What size is piece C?
50 times 30. Uh, 40 times 20.
Okay, well, what size do we know it is?
50 times.
We know it's 30. It goes all the way from the front to the back, but you guys jumped on it right away, right? It's a little bit smaller than B. That's kind of a hassle.
45.
I don't need that kind of work in my life, right? So C equals 30 by something that's kind of confusing. You have to do a bunch of math to figure it out because C is inside here and B is outside there. That is a great example of how not to design something. So we can design this better in a way that has fewer unique shapes. There's only 2. Tyler?
What about the back side?
The back side, that's a great question. That would come later for the purpose of this example. Okay, so let's rethink this here because this way you're going to have a minimum of 3 unique shapes, A, B, and C. And that is a lot of work, and no one needs more work. Do you guys need more work in your life?
No!
No, you want less work. Okay, so let's look at it this way. If instead of having it that way, we put it's going to be kind of messed up here, but we have this coming up, and then we have this inside. We have this inside. Whoa. Okay, so by changing that design, we've made our lives a lot easier. So Mona, what size is C? That's a good question. C doesn't exist anymore. What happened to C?
I don't know.
So now we just have, they're all B. Does that make sense?
Oh.
Right? Because now it's inside. So now these all match. So now we have this times 5, and then C just kind of disappears. We don't need that. So if you design it, instead of designing it in a more complicated way, you can think about your plans, your projects in this term of how can we make it as few different shapes as possible. You need a bunch of pieces, and that's fine. But if they all match, and you guys maybe remember this from last year, those of you who used the belt sander last year, as long as the pieces match each other, as long as all the B's match each other, your project will be fine, right? If you end up cutting your B a little bit short, and it's like, oh no, it was supposed to be 50 and I had to sand it, and it's 48 now, right? Is that actually, is your project gonna like never work? It's gonna be broken forever? No, it's actually gonna work fine. It's not gonna change anything about the way it works. It'll be a little bit skinnier. You know, if you take this class in high school, I do have big machines that allow you to be much more accurate. So at that point, doing a bunch of different shapes is fine. But for right now, you need to think about how to make this so smart. So there's a phrase I like: work smarter, not harder. You gotta work smart, and then you'll be able to do great things. Instead of just working harder and harder and harder, try to figure out a way to work in a smart way so it's actually less complicated. Let me give you some examples of this. Move over here. Look at this beautiful chair that was unfinished and abandoned forever.
Oh.
Let's make sure that everyone can see. Look at this chair. Okay, so real quick, how many unique shapes is this chair made out of? Look carefully. Count, count, count.
3,
2, 2.
They're not pieces of wood.
7.
Not pieces of wood. Unique shapes. Ethan?
6.
4,
Never mind.
4,
6, 7, 2.
It's more than 2, I think.
Or 3, 7, 4.
1,
I don't get it.
2,
5. 3.
Okay, so let's go. Let's take this one piece at a time. So these pieces here, this is one shape. There's 2 of them, but it's one shape, right? So if these were taller or shorter than each other, if these are taller or shorter, it actually would be fine as long as they match. If one was taller or shorter, that would be terrible. That would be the chair would But as long as they match, it's okay. So this is 1. What about this piece?
1,
1.
Okay, so we have 1. This is actually the same size as this,
Yeah.
right? Which is the same size as this and this and this.
2.
Okay, so we've got piece 1, or A. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is piece 2. So this is really mainly made of just 2 shapes. There's two different, the long pieces and the short pieces. As long as they all match, the chair will work fine. If this one was a little bit skinnier, it wouldn't work. If they were all a little bit skinnier, though, it actually would work okay. It'd be a little bit smaller. Your butt would have a hard time squeezing on it, but it would work, right? The chair would actually still function. We also have down here these pieces, these round pieces here. This is 3. This entire chair is made of just 3 unique shapes. So all the student had to do to make it was figure out that number and say, all right, I need 2 of these, I need 5 of these, and I need 4 of these. And then it's like go, 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 go. No, because this student did not finish, so there needs to be the thing here. So this would be, the last thing to do would be to put something across here. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 unique shapes to build this chair properly, right? So just to give you an example, another example, let's see here, of this exact, this is a cool little table. I'm going to bring it over here so the video can see as well, even though it's kind of far from the rest of you guys. What up? Okay, so this is kind of a cool way to build a table, I think. Pretty clever. Okay, so each of these legs are identical. This side and this side are the exact same shape. They're just screwed together to make kind of an L. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of wood. But that's just one shape. So make 8 pieces this shape. That's step 1. Make 4 pieces this shape. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was step 2. Then make the top. That was step 3. So if you think about it that way, designing it in a way that makes as few unique shapes as possible, that takes a little bit of work ahead of time to think and maybe redesign. But when you do that, then you can build it a lot more easily when it comes to actual building section, the building time. So even for little projects or big projects, you need to think about how to design it in a way that minimizes unique shapes. So your homework, and this is going to be what's due in our next class, which I forgot to tell you guys. Where's my red marker? Okay, I have put over here on the board. These are all the days of class that we have. Our last day of class is January 18th. It's after Christmas, after New Year's. But as we go through, I'll be crossing them off all the way up. So today is the 4th. After today, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Only 9 days of class, guys. It's right there. 9 days. Yeah, so that's why I'm kind of cracked through these things. I want you guys to watch the videos so you can make stuff and we can do stuff together. So your homework for our next class, which is on the 12th, whatever day that is, next week, is to show up with one of these types of plans. So it should have your actual blueprint. It should have each piece listed out. Kind of like we have here, where we have A equals 30 by 100, B equals 30 by 50, to change that back. 30 by 50, and then you need 5 of them and stuff like that, in your case, to make this. Okay, so if you want to, kind of like that diagram I showed, you can draw out that you would have like A. No, let's do it the other way. So you have like, if it helps you to think like, this is piece B, and this is 50 by 30. And then you have piece A, and you have 30 by 100. And you have like this, times 5, and this times 2, or whatever. Okay, if this is helpful, go for it. You saw that, one of the students did that, but you at least need to have this. You need to have something drawn out that I can use. If I wanted to, I could actually look at your plan and follow it and make your project if I wanted to, if somebody else wanted to. Okay, so just so that we can be clear what everyone's doing here. Okay, so what we're talking about is something like this. Let me show. Okay, so you've got, like there's A1 and B1, and you can see on the bottom A1 and B1 with the sizes right there. Every piece is drawn out so that you could follow this diagram. Okay, so that is your homework for our next class.